Reuters today has posted the results of a new, serious and fascinating investigation into the threats from Trump supporters and right-wing operatives against election workers at all levels. Threats that haven't gotten any better since November. They're still in full force today. And worryingly, they are almost never being prosecuted by law enforcement. Here's Reuters' lead today. Quote, through public records and interviews, Reuters documented 102 threats of death or violence received by more than 40 election officials. By more than 40 election officials, elections workers, and their relatives in 8 of the most contested battleground states in the 2020 presidential contest. Each was explicit enough to put a reasonable person in fear of bodily harm or death, which is the typical legal threshold for prosecution. In addition to the messages that directly threatened violence, hundreds of others contained harassing language that was disturbing, profane, sometimes racist or misogynistic. The intimidation has affected all levels of election administrators, from rank-and-file poll workers all the way up to secretaries of state. Almost all of the 102 explicit threats of violence reviewed by Reuters appeared to be inspired by former President Trump's debunked claims that the election was rigged against him. The messages often included highly personal, sometimes sexualized threats of violence or death, not only to the officials themselves, but also to their family members and also to their children. In only 4 incidents out of those 102 threats that Reuters documented, was Reuters able to document an arrest. Those 4 open cases in which there has been an arrest have yet to result in a single conviction. And this is actually a follow-up investigation from Reuters. The same news organization in June documented very, very explicit death threats made to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and his family, including geographically specific and specifically timed threats against individual family members, threats so specific they sent folks into hiding. In the intervening months, even in the intervening months since those were publicly reported by Reuters, not a single person has been arrested, let alone charged with making any of those threats to Raffensperger or his family members. Reuters today documents threats to Colorado's Secretary of State, Gina Griswold, who got threats like these online. Quote, watch your back. I know where you sleep. I see you sleeping. Be afraid. Be very afraid. I hope you die. The same person sent these threats online as well. Gina Griswold will hang for the high crimes of treason. Patriots will take care of you. I would move and change your address, ... quickly. The same man wrote to her on Instagram. Guess who's going to hang when all the fraud is revealed? Hint, look in the mirror. Under a childhood photo she posted online to wish her own father Happy Father's Day, that same guy wrote to her, quote, prepare for the gallows. In the case of those explicit threats to the Colorado Secretary of State, I know where you sleep, I'm watching you sleep, I want you dead. Reuters reports today that police actually did specifically identify and locate the man who made those threats against Gina Griswold. Despite that, they decided, who cares, let it slide. No reason to act on any of those. And she's a Secretary of State. How well protected do you think, like, random poll workers feel when they've had these kinds of attacks and direct death threats, direct, specific, repeated death threats from identifiable people? The local elections chief in Fulton County, Georgia, a man named Richard Barron, received this call, a threat by voicemail. This also warranted no apparent response from law enforcement, at least none that's visible to public reporting. And I'm going to play the call for you. I will warn you, it's short, it's less than 30 seconds, but it is unpleasant. If you don't want to hear it, I will give you a chance to mute me for a second. All right, here it comes.
Time's running out, Richard. We're coming after you and every mother that stole this election with our Second Amendment. Subpoenas be damned. You're going to be served lead, you fucking enemy communist sucker. You will be served lead.
You will be served lead. We're coming at you with our Second Amendment. You will be served lead. Again, that was directed to the elections chief of Fulton County, Georgia. And that threat and dozens of other threats to that same official and to other people who work in that same office were all sent to law enforcement authorities for investigation. Nobody was arrested for that threat or for any of the related threats that came in. But this is where things stand right now in our politics. This is what it's like to be like a professional, technocratic election worker or poll worker in America right now, when these are the animating politics on the American right.